Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation at Token2049. I still see some free spaces, free seats available, so if you come closer and just sit down would be great. But else, it's going to be an easy presentation today. It's pretty loud here in the hall, so don't sweat too much. The title of the presentation is The Interoperable Multi-Chain Future of Web3. Probably you've never heard of a presentation with more buzzwords in it before. But it's pretty simple. My name is Kordek. I'm CEO and co-founder of Lisk. And you will hear a bit more about Lisk later at the end of the presentation. But coming back to the topic of today and the goal I have with my presentation is that I want that you understand the concept of something what is called interoperable Web3 applications. And like I said, it's pretty simple, but I will guide you through it so that you fully understand what I mean with that. And if you're not sure why I'm having this talk to you, because I think the whole topic of interoperable Web3 applications is the future. And if you're developers, if you're having a business who wish to enter the Web3 space, I think this presentation will give you some very valuable input on how to do that. So let's first focus on Web3. And with that, I would like to first explain how Web3 is going to be built. There are two paradigms. One is with a smart contract, which we can call a smart contract layer 1. And examples of that are Ethereum, the Binance Smart Chain, or Solana. And that's where you're developing a smart contract, similar like a little script or program you're uploading onto one of these blockchains, and then with that, everyone in the ecosystem can just execute them against a fee, the gas fee. And these smart contracts have a few advantages. They're very simple because you just have to write a small script which everyone can execute. That's it. There's not a lot of stuff around that. And with that, it allows you to really quickly iterate on your use case to bring it to a state where it has a real benefit to your end user. And, well, I showed before on the slide that there are already multiple smart contract layer 1s. And if they are using the same smart contract system, let's call it like that, in reality it's called a virtual machine, then it's very portable as well, because you could just develop, now it's getting a bit technical, one Solidity smart contract and deploy it on many different smart contract layer 1s. And for me, that's the best way to build Web3 applications at an early stage. Because with that, you can, like I said, very fast and very simple, iterate really quickly. So it's kind of like an MVP known out of the startup world. However, there's also a different paradigm. And we can call that an app-specific layer 1, like what Polkadot, Cosmos, or my own company, Lisk, is working on. And these projects or platforms, they have an SDK, a software development kit, which you can imagine kind of as a toolbox, which gives you everything you need to build your own blockchain. And if you then want to build a Web3 application, you basically build or develop this logic of your application natively into the protocol of this new blockchain you're building. Obviously, that's a lot more work because you're not developing just your smart contract, you're developing your own blockchain and everything what comes with it. But it has some advantages. It's much more secure because if something goes bust on your blockchain, there are ways to turn back, essentially. So you have your own governance model, you can make your own decision on your blockchain. It can be decentralized, it can be trustless, but then in case of a hack, for example, you could vote in a decentralized way that the users get their funds back. In a smart contract layer 1, that's not working because the smart contract is just one of hundred thousands of smart contracts. Why would they ever change anything on their immutable blockchain just for that? Then let's take Ethereum for an example. I think there are nearly 1 million smart contracts deployed on Ethereum. All can be executed by everyone. That just tells you already that's not a very scalable approach. If you're building your own blockchain for your application, then it's only your application living on that one chain. So your users don't have to compete with the users of other Web3 applications, making it much more scalable. Typically, I think the different SDKs enable you to build a blockchain with around 1 million transactions a day. and that's then solely for your Web3 application, not for anything else. And it's more accessible because you as a business behind the Web3 application can really focus on providing the best user experience to your user base. You have much more tools available to change whatever parameters you need to change in the blockchain. You can really fit your user interfaces to how your blockchain is performing, and so on and so forth. And that's why I think app-specific layer 1s are the best way for Web3 applications at a later stage. So it all starts kind of with a smart contract maybe. You want to see if it works, if your product has a user base or a use case actually. But then at a later stage, if you want to have more scalability, a better user experience, then I think it makes so much sense to switch to an app-specific layer 1, like Polkadot, Cosmos, or Lisk. And we see that already happening. So for example, DYDX, they started as a smart contract on Ethereum. They're one of the most popular decentralized exchanges in the world right now. And they announced the plan to move to an app-specific layer 1. And they're citing user experience and scalability as one of the biggest reasons for that move. Now you've seen that, well, there are multiple smart contract layer 1s, and there are multiple app-specific layer 1s, which also all come then with individual blockchains. So the multi-chain part of my presentation is already reality. We are already living in a world with multiple blockchains in existence, and everyone's fighting for adoption. And I think that's very good because it brings many advantages, individual use cases, more scalability because there are more platforms to work with. However, it also creates kind of a separation or an isolation because all these different blockchains, they are not connected with each other. They're all individual. And that's where we have to work on something called interoperable or interoperability that allows you to connect these blockchains with each others and move tokens or NFTs seamlessly between them. That's just necessary, just an example. You have a DEX and you want to trade different tokens. But now if it's an app-specific layer 1, of course these tokens are on different blockchains. But you need to pull them over into your DEX, which is also on its own blockchain. And to make that work, like I said, you need interoperability, a way to connect these different blockchains. And that's basically the interoperable part of my presentation. And, well, that's kind of about the interoperable future of Web3 applications. And now we're coming to my project I'm working on. It's going to be a quick part, don't worry. Lisk. Lisk is an app-specific layer 1, and it was established in 2016, so we're a very OG project. That's why I got announced like that. Since 7 years, we're working on it, but we're pretty successful with what we're doing. Our team is around 80 people big. We have above $65 million in funding still, so a long way forward for us before we might run into any problems there, but until that point, we already have multiple solutions in mind. And we have two products. One, which I already mentioned before, this SDK, this toolbox for developers, which enables any developer to build their own blockchain or blockchain application or Web3 application. And this one is open source. It's free forever. We will never monetize it. You can use it however you want to use it. It's rooted in JavaScript. So we made this decision because it's the most popular programming language in the world. There are over 20 million JavaScript developers out there. And we don't want to only speak to the elite of crypto. We want to speak to all the businesses in the world and get them ready for Web3. It's modular, so everyone can really benefit from different components businesses, startups, or individual developers are building. You can just reuse them. This is like a core principle of JavaScript itself. And we're really working on developer experience. And here, of course, a good documentation is key. The second product is that we want to also make it possible for our users to then actively use these Web3 applications. And that's called the Lisk platform. It's coming next year. There are already multiple projects building on it. And we're super excited to see that live. I'm working now since 7 years on Lisk, and this is going to be a monumental step for not only us as a team and a company, but for Web3 overall. So that's the future. that's the future part of my presentation, Lisk. That's where we feel like we're really contributing something to the industry by offering not only an open source SDK for every JavaScript developer out there, but also a platform for users where they are really in the focus, because we really think it's still all too complicated to be used in terms of Web3 applications. And our goal for the next few years is to onboard 100 million users to crypto and Web3. And that we make possible with Lisk. If you have more information, if you want to know more about Lisk, just head to our website, lisk.com, and there you can learn all about it. Thank you.
Some big round of applause for Max, man. How are you, Max?
I'm very good.
Everything
very
cool?
Good. Yeah.
Hey, man, you're really connected in the whole crypto space. Love to get your take on what's happened in the last kind of 24, 48 hours with regards to Binance and the guys at FTX. First of all, did you have any exposure there?
No exposure. No, luckily not. We have some exposure to BlockFi, which is not affected as things stand. But there was a deal between FTX and BlockFi back in the day, but there seems to be everything good. So we're, I would say, lucky, because this, I think, no one was able to foresee.
Absolutely not. And also, I think the speed of how things happen in the market right now.
Welcome to crypto, huh?
Welcome to crypto, baby, where things move fast.
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, how do you think this is going to affect the next few weeks and months? Obviously, I think it's quite negative for the space. There was a gentleman, Philip, who was up here talking before, who looks at all data in the market, and he was actually saying that things like this need to happen because they test the systems and they get rid of some bad actors or bad practices, and we move on. What do you think? It's going to be net negative for the space?
I mean, it definitely is going to be negative for the space because a lot of people are losing money. And it's not the only thing which came up this year. There was a real series of bad events. So it's been a pretty bad year for investors in the crypto space overall, especially for retail investors. And why are we doing all of this? We're doing this to bring Web3 to the world. And who's going to use Web3? Sure, businesses, institutions, but also just normal people like all of us. And this event, like the many other this year, sets the whole industry back for maybe not months, but years, who knows? I think it's really hurting. It might have to happen to weed out bad actors, but crypto generally reaches this size where the numbers involved are just so big that it's really more hurting than beneficial in any point,
Yeah, I mean, the numbers thing is interesting. And when you look back historically, venture investments done 5 years ago and how much was raised. When you look back at some of the hacks which were done 5 years ago and you look at how much was hacked, you look back in comparison with 5 years ago to now and the numbers are just way bigger. It's a different ballgame, right?
Yeah, it's a different world. But I mean, I've been now in crypto since nearly 10 years, and this year it's going to be 10 years.
10 years,
And crypto doesn't die.
No.
So it only makes it harder, it only makes it more robust. So I don't think it's going to pose a very big problem for the long term, but for the short and medium term, definitely we will feel it. I just hope that at this point, not other companies are somehow getting sucked in this ripple effect, I really hope that, and I hope that everyone can just survive the storm.
It's the contagion effect, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's a problem. And I suppose with what's going on now, especially with the investment side and counterparty risk and staking and adding liquidity, it does become quite a contagious area, right? Crypto is becoming all interlinked, right?
Yeah, and because Lisk is a 7-year-old project, we've been through 2 or 3 bear markets already, so we know how to manage our treasury and know that we should not hold everything in Bitcoin, Ethereum, our own currency, but actually have also fiat equivalents. So we're good, even if everything drops to 0 for a few more years, it doesn't matter. But all these projects here at the conference, for example, they're pretty new. And that's a big topic. They don't have the experience on how to manage their treasury. So I really hope that they're somehow getting advice on that topic so that they can survive crypto winters.
Stay in the game and onboard the next 100 million people. Max, Lisk, big round of applause. Thanks so much, dude. Great, man. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Max.